Hello, my name is Benjamin Gould, and I'm a materials scientist at Argonne National Laboratory. Argonne is located in Lamont, Illinois, just outside of Chicago. It's one of 17 Department of Energy laboratories across the country, and this year, Argonne is celebrating its 75th anniversary. Over those 75 years, researchers have used the lab's facilities to make many groundbreaking discoveries. I work in an area called tribology, which means I study the way surfaces interact as they rub together. You may know this as friction, and it's all around you. I really got into tribology because I loved wind energy, and I wanted to find ways to make wind turbines more efficient. Argonne does work in this field because there's so much to learn. The more we can learn about the effects of friction in our lives, the more we can improve things like cars or wind turbines. Studying friction is definitely not new. Over 500 years ago, Leonardo da Vinci studied tribology. Today's activity, you'll be thinking about and experimenting with tribology just like Da Vinci did in the 1500s and just like I do at Argonne today. One piece of advice that I have for today's activity, and for any future scientific or engineering activities that you do, is don't be afraid to fail. Failure is an important part of learning. Trying something, then learning what you use to move forward is a part of research that has aided me throughout my career. Now let's get to the fun stuff. I want to introduce you to Brandon Pope. He's an education outreach coordinator at Argonne, and today he'll be leading you through some experiments that focus on tribology, Da Vinci, and some of his thoughts on friction.
Thanks, Ben. Hello, everyone. My name is Brandon Pope. I'm the Outreach Education Coordinator at Argonne Laboratory, and thanks for being here today. We're going to talk about friction. Now, if you know what friction is, wonderful. If you don't, that's okay too. So what everyone to start by doing is take your hands, rub them together. You feel that heat? That heat is a result of your hands rubbing together. And friction is a study of what happens when surfaces rub against each other. Now, you may know Leonardo da Vinci as a painter, sculptor, as an inventor, but he also was a tribologist, just like Ben and Argonne. And he had a lot of assumptions about friction. One assumption was that he thought that the friction between all surfaces was the same. Today, we know that's not correct. And we're going to learn about that today doing this experiment. So, first things first, you all should have your supplies. Think about these supplies. They should all be in your home. You should not have to go buy anything for this experiment. All the things we need should already be in your home. So the first thing you're going to need for your experiment is a string. A shoestring is the best thing to use. So here is my shoestring. Shoestring is the first thing you need. The second thing you need is a small Ziploc bag. So what you're going to do is take a pencil, or as a parent, take your Ziploc bag and punch a hole right under the seal of the Ziploc bag. Go ahead and do that. To have that hole, you're going to take your string, put it through the hole, and tie a knot so it's tight and so it hangs, but they're still able to put something in the bag. It's right here. Okay? Next thing you're going to do, take your ruler, and I want you to measure 1 foot of string from the end of your bag out. So you should have a foot of string right here. You got that? Secondly, well, the next thing, take your object, maybe a can of soup. I use the bar of soap, and then tie the string around that object, tie it tight so it can hang just like this. So in the end, you should have the string with the Ziploc bag on one end and the item on the other end. This is your experiment. This will not change. This stays the same the entire experiment. Okay? So now what we're going to do, we're going to measure how many weight items does it take to move your item on a surface. Now, that weight item really depends on what you have at home. Now, the thing about the weight item is that they all should be the same. You need a lot of them. So I was able to find a bunch of pennies around my house, in the couch, in my car, a lot of different places, but you can use pennies, you can use coins, paper clips, batteries, whatever you have, it doesn't matter, just as long as they are the same, you need a lot of them. Now we have our weights, and we're going to determine at how much weight does it take to move this object on a variety of surfaces. The first one being aluminum foil. Okay, so what we're going to do now, we're going to set up our experiment right now. Okay, you see I have my aluminum foil on a flat desk. It can be a kitchen table, it can be a kitchen counter, but it should be flat. You have your foil on the surface like this, make sure it's flat. Then I'm going to take my object, my bar soap, put it flat on the surface just like this. Then you want to have your bag so it hangs off of the desk. So this is what you want to have, your object on the surface somewhere flat and your plastic bag hanging off of the table, off the surface. And then you're going to take your weight items. And then we're going to put the weight items in the bag to see how many items does it take to move this object on this surface. Okay? Now, if I add 1 penny at a time, it'll take a long time to figure it out. So I'm going to start with 5 pennies. And I'm going to see if 5 pennies can cause this object to move on the surface. All right, so here's 5 pennies. 5 pennies. Nothing. All right. Add 5 more pennies. 5 more pennies. All right. All right, it moves. So now we know that for this bar of soap, it took 10 pennies to move on this surface. Now what you can do, you can change the surface to a bare table. You can put a t-shirt here, put a sock, a paper towel. You can put a little bit of soil here, but the main thing is determine how many pennies or how much weight does it take to move your item on different surfaces. So, Da Vinci was incorrect. One reason is that we think that Da Vinci's labs were much different than today's lab. His lab may have been dusty, not as well lit, whereas Argon had labs we call clean rooms. These are rooms without the dust that may have been found in Da Vinci's lab, and these rooms allow much more precise measurements. So why is this important? You remember from the video that tribology is the study of wear or friction, and at Argon, tribologists like Ben focus on how to decrease friction in a variety of things that play a role in all of our lives. So, I hope you had fun. I hope you learned something, and I hope now you have a better appreciation of friction. Thanks, and we'll see you soon.